as part of the Planet Microcap Showcase. It is now my pleasure to turn the floor over to your host, CFO Val Buehler of Electrameccanica Vehicles.
Thank you, Kelly, and thank you everyone for joining me today in Electrameccanica's virtual presentation. I'll be going over the company overview, Solo Drive, evolution of the Solo itself in terms of the metrics, the true cost of ownership comparison, the growing EV and rideshare market, purpose-built for urban driving challenges and the Solo ecosystem, our launch and strategic rollout, our marketing strategy, our path to profitability, our company stock and financials, and then lastly, our key takeaways. Here we have our forward-looking statements. As you all, or most of you might know, that Electrameccanica is a Canadian designer and manufacturer of electric vehicles. We are redefining transportation. We see ourselves as the future and revolutionizing Solo Drive from urban commuting, delivery, and shared mobility. We are changing transportation when it comes to single occupants. We are dynamic and unique in three distinct ways from others in the sector, and what sets us apart when it comes to our flagship vehicle, the single-seat, three-wheeled Solo, and the Solo ecosystem that we've created in a holistic manner for single-occupant transportation. We started production last year at the end of August, so we're extremely thrilled and excited about where we are as an organization and where we're going to. Three ways in how we're different from others. One is our product, the Solo itself, which provides an exciting driving experience. It's unique, it's trendy, it's fun, it's affordable, and environmentally friendly. It is a purpose-built vehicle that's meant for the urban commuter and for commercial applications like fleets, deliveries, and for a car share, which creates this Solo ecosystem. Secondly, our product is produced in an asset-light manufacturing model with our strategic partner Zhongshan, who's known to be one of the largest motorcycle manufacturers worldwide. So they truly understand mass-scale production and scalability. Thirdly, we are launching the Solo strategically through a detailed marketing and advertising plan and through retail kiosk stores. So right now we are in 5 states, or entering into 5 states, which are Arizona, California, Colorado, Oregon, and Washington. Currently we have 11 retail stores, and by the end of Q2 we'll have 20. We've got a highly experienced management team with significant beneficial ownership of about 16%. We're headquartered in Vancouver, Canada, and we've got currently a service and distribution center in Studio City, LA. We've got 5 wholly owned subsidiaries, 3 U.S. subsidiaries, 1 Canadian subsidiary, and 1 wholly owned foreign entity. So if you take a look at this slide in terms of Solo Drive, what we mean by that is on one side, let's say the left-hand side, you've got micromobility, which is your scooters and your bikes. Usually they lack safety or protection features. They're limited in range. You're exposed to the elements, and there's a very minimal technology integration in there. On the right side of the screen, you'll see the passenger EV vehicles. They're quite expensive to own. You've got to have a dedicated level 2 or level 3 charging infrastructure. And majority of the time, you've got 3 to 5 seats empty because 76% of the time, you're generally driving by yourself. In the middle is what you have, the Solo. It is a purpose-built solution that is made for urban environments as well as for commercial applications like the fleets and the car share. This is all about going towards a minimalist trend, and it's all about creating this solo ecosystem. And as you can see from our next slide in terms of how we evolved with the Solo, it started in 2015 as a dream and a vision. So during 2015 and the years following, we first produced 64 prototypes that were hand-built out of our Vancouver facility. Then in 2019 and onwards, 2019 and 2020, we built 60 pre-production vehicles with our strategic partner Zhongshan out of China. These were used for further validation and testing and making other changes that we needed to in the engineering and on the safety aspect. In August of 2020, we started production. So we've got the production vehicles now, the Solo. This is truly a monumental time for the company in hitting a milestone of what we've now gone into production and have made this actually come to life and be a part of this new process of the company changing and evolving from a pre-production company and now into a production company. At the facility currently at Zhongshan, we do have the capability of producing 20,000 vehicles annually. And in terms of what's in our specs of the new Solo, the production Solo, some of the key items to note here is that it has a top speed of 80 miles per hour. It's got a range of about 100 miles. It's got a Bluetooth-enabled aspects. It's got heated seats. It's got rear view mirrors. It's got a backup camera. We've got an MSRP on this vehicle for $18,500. Also, we currently have a rebate for the state of California of $750, along with an additional $1,500 clean fuel reward that we just were able to get. And for the state of Oregon, there's a $2,500 rebate. This Solo has gone through an immense amount of safety testing, which is far beyond what is required for this vehicle class, and a number of safety and drivability upgrades. So for example, we've got an electronic power steering, we've got triple side protection, we've got torque limiting stability control, we've got rear and front crumple zone protection, we've got a roll bar, we've got a wider wheelbase for enhanced drivability. So in essence, the Solo we view as the most economical vehicle out there when you're comparing it to others. And in this next slide, you'll see that we've done a true cost of comparison over a 5-year time frame. We've compared the Solo to others, such as the Mini, the Nissan Leaf, the Chevy Bolt, and the Tesla Model 3. And some of the factors that we put in here are the insurance, the rebates, maintenance, repairs, taxes and fees, etc. And when you look at the total cost, the Solo is far superior over the others by anywhere from 39% to 96%, essentially. In terms of where we are in the marketplace right now, I think everybody agrees that there's been this growing trend towards the electric vehicles and also the rideshare market. And if it's not a personal preference, it's also coming as a mandate from our governments and regulatory authorities. So just a few key highlights on some of the statistics. In 2018, global EV sales totaled 2.1 million. The U.S. actually increased its sales of EVs by 81% in 2018. Another statistic is that Bloomberg predicts that by 2040, electric vehicles will account for about 30% of all new vehicle sales. As we know, California is still the largest consumer of electric vehicles in the U.S. 50% of all electric vehicle sales are still coming out of the state of California. And lastly, I'll just leave this one other statistic is that in today's EV environment, 1.8% is accounted for shared mobility fleets. This is to grow to 80% by 2040. So a lot of changes are coming down the pipeline for this. As I mentioned before, the Solo is a purpose-built vehicle. In particular, it's purpose-built firstly for urban driving challenges. So if you look at it, so much of what we do is solo, whether it's going to work or driving to work or go to grab a coffee or running errands or whatever the event might be that or activity that you're doing or going for a gym class or something like that. A lot of the time we're actually driving by ourselves. And so through the research that we did, 76% of the time we're actually by ourselves. By having the Solo as a solution, it has a lower operating cost also, not only with electric vehicles, but also with the traditional vehicles. So this is all about looking towards a solution that is purpose-built for the single occupant. And in addition to not only the commuter, the daily commuter, as part of our Solo ecosystem, we have two other aspects to our business. One is the B2B model, which is for utility fleets and deliveries. So, for example, if a fleet would like to do deliveries for food or pharmaceuticals or small package deliveries, you've also got parking attendants that can be using this for, and then there's also other utility companies that could be using this as a solution as opposed to having a bigger vehicle. You've got like the single seat, which you're only requiring one driver to be in. So that's the B2B model. The other part of our Solo ecosystem is the Solo share aspect. So that's the shared mobility, similar to a concept of Zipcar, Car2Go. For example, you have pods of Solos, and you use your app, and you would basically unlock the vehicle, and then you would use it, and then go to whatever place you need to. So you would get charged either on an hourly basis, on a daily basis, depending on what it is that you're going to be doing, and then return the Solo back to the pod. So with these three aspects, the urban driving, commuting, the Solo utility, and the Solo share, we are providing you a Solo ecosystem that is a holistic approach for transportation for a single occupant. And just a little bit more about our strategic partner Zhongshan, and as well as how we produce the Solos. We have an asset-light manufacturing model. So we as a company decided to outsource the commercialization of our Solos to keep our CapEx costs low. And it also reduces and mitigates against production risk as well. Zhongshan is one of the largest motorcycle manufacturers worldwide. They produce over 2 million motorcycles a year, and they maintain over 50 joint ventures worldwide. They also beneficially own about 2.4% of the issued and outstanding. In terms of our launch and strategic rollout strategy, we're focused on delivering on the West Coast first, in particular the LA market. That's where we're going to be starting our customer deliveries. We're also expanding our retail kiosk space. We've got 11 retail kiosks now, and as mentioned before, we'll have about 20 by the end of Q2. And with that, we will be in 5 states by that time: California, Arizona, Oregon, Washington, and Colorado. So we're really excited about where we are and where we're going, and expanding our rollout from the West Coast and then moving across the U.S. The other aspect of our rollout is also our marketing strategy. So we've established an exciting and integrated brand identity, as well as providing campaigns that will include digital marketing and traditional marketing as well. That includes influencers, we've got billboards, and we've got other print that we're doing as well. We're working with RNC PMK with respect to our outreach on the public relations side, and various media companies in terms of looking at the digital side. In terms of our path to profitability, we're looking at this in three different ways. One would be to ramp up production volumes, and by doing that, we'll be able to leverage our buying power from suppliers and gain more favorable pricing, along with enhancing manufacturing efficiencies and increasing automation. The second aspect, which we're really excited about as well, is having a U.S. assembly facility. This, we've identified the state of Arizona in Mesa, where we're going to be having this assembly facility. We made that announcement a few weeks ago, and it's truly exciting. Right now, we're looking at the plans and the architecture in terms of what the facility is going to look like. Once that's finalized, we'll be able to break ground on that as well. So it'll take about anywhere from 12 to about 16 months in order for the facility to be ready for us to move into. It's extremely important in terms of how we came to the solution of picking Mesa, Arizona in particular. It was because of not only are we going to have a U.S. assembly facility with an American-made Solo, it was also about capturing the logistical efficiencies, and as well as the supply chain that we'd be looking at that'll be close to there, the transportation aspects of what's going to be closer for us to get the vehicles out to the various places and to the customers as soon as possible, as well as also initiating and creating the Solo ecosystem with the state and the municipalities. So this is an initiative that we're also undertaking with the state and the municipality, where they are completely bought into the whole Solo ecosystem initiative. And in addition to all that, we will be creating hundreds of new jobs, thousands of indirect jobs that would be created from that, injecting cash into the economy and increasing GDP. So again, this is really exciting for us in terms of how we're going to be able to expand also by having an American-made Solo here. The third way to our path to profitability is continued product development. So in addition to that, we're going to be ongoing enhancements to the performance on cost improvement initiatives, as well as a clear path to reduce our bill of materials for the future iterations of the Solo. This then takes us to our company stock and financial information. Our Q4 results were released on March the 23rd. Everything that we're reporting right now is now in U.S. dollars. So cash at the end of Q4 was just over $129 million. Our issued and outstanding was around 112.9 million shares. Our fully diluted was 138.2 million shares. Our market cap now is about $500 million. We've got a growing employee count, 133 at the end of December, and growing in the months following that. We've got zero long-term debt. And that's significantly important for us to recognize. We've been able to put a production vehicle on the road with not a lot of money and capital investment, and by doing so with no debt on the balance sheet. We've got beneficial ownership of about 16%, and over this last year, which has been tough for many people during COVID and all, we've been able to de-risk the company and provide a stronger balance sheet, to continue to execute on our business strategies and our business plan as we move forward in the next evolution of the company. Some key takeaways to leave you with is that, again, three main components that are really important for our organization and sets us apart is our product, the Solo, which is a purpose-built single-seat electric vehicle. We've created a Solo ecosystem around the Solo, anywhere from providing a solution for urban driving, for businesses on fleets and utilities, and then also the Solo Share program. So really completing a full circle from a holistic view of how to transport an individual from one, or a business, from one location to the next. Secondly, we've got a asset-light manufacturing model, which allows us to have lower capital expenditures and mitigate risk against production. Thirdly, it's how we're launching the Solo. It's a strategic rollout with LA first and then going across the West Coast to the rest of the country. We've got strong macroeconomic tailwinds with a large and rapidly growing EV market. We've got a highly experienced management team, and we've truly shifted the dynamic from being a pre-production company and into a production company, and really stepping up in terms of de-risking the balance sheet, moving forward, executing on our business plans as we move forward. In closing, I would like to thank you all for joining me today. Please stay safe and healthy. Thanks again.
Thank you. This does conclude today's webcast. Thank you for your participation and have a wonderful day.